Okay, so we're going to start off with just a brief introduction to who we are. We are Michigan Interfaith Power and Light. We're a statewide nonprofit whose mission is to inspire and equip people of faith and conscience to exercise stewardship and love for all creation. Energy efficiency is one of those ways to put faith into action, and we'll be talking about that today. And we're delighted to be offering this webinar today in partnership with our partners at Consumers Energy. So who we are, we were founded in 2002 by Father Charles Moores, a Catholic priest with the Detroit Diocese, who said there ought to be a faith response to global warming. At that time, there were only 4 states in the country with an interfaith power and light. Now we're part of a national network that includes over 40 affiliate member organizations. We represent collectively over 18,000 people of faith across the country. And some logistics for today, we will be recording this and sending the slides out to those who couldn't make it, and to all of you. This is a conversation. We hope it'll be interactive, so please post your questions in the chat or come off mute to ask your question. And the agenda is simply why energy efficiency, why does it matter in a faith context? We'll share some success stories from people of faith from across the state. And then we'll have an opportunity for question and answer with our Consumers Energy advisors. So with that, we'd like to do a brief poll. And I will launch that now. So on your screen, you should see a question: to what degree is your faith community exploring implementing an energy efficiency project? And with the potential responses being, we are identifying a project. We would like advice on what products to purchase that are compatible with our existing equipment. Can everybody see the poll? Okay, great. How to find a Consumers Energy trade ally or hire a contractor, how to maximize the discounts and rebates that are available, or other. So other, I'm really interested to hear from you. If you wouldn't mind posting your questions in the chat so we can make sure to address them today. I'm just giving a minute for people to submit their responses. Yeah, so it looks like about a third of us are looking at where to begin, and some of us would like advice on which products are compatible with the Consumers Energy rebates or with our existing equipment, and then maximizing the discounts and rebates, and then other. Awesome, thank you. So with that, first of all, what is energy efficiency? What are we talking about when that is what we're talking about in a faith context? Well, it can look like replacing your lighting or changing out your thermostat or installing low flow air aerators. It can look so many different ways in a house of worship context. And why does it matter? Well, every dollar saved by a place of faith is a dollar that goes in to fund your vital mission and ministry. And we have seen this again and again in examples of faith communities across the state, that they are saving hundreds of dollars that are going back into their ministries. So while it may look like just one light bulb or a few dollars you're saving here and there, it does add up over time. It's also important to note that every faith tradition, at least of the denominations and faiths that are in our membership, have tenets related to creation care and the importance of exercising stewardship of God's creation. So I have some statements here from the Jewish faith and Christian faith, but really the bottom line is that it's important for us to exercise stewardship, not just of our own financial resources within our congregation, but looking at how that affects the bigger picture. So there is a cumulative impact. We've been partnering with Consumers Energy since 2015. And in that time, over 1,200 houses of worship across the state have availed themselves of the free small business assessment. We also refer to that as like the way. It is essentially a free energy efficient assessment to identify ways that your house of worship can save on its energy bills. And in that process, you might also receive some direct install of free upgrades that can immediately help your house of worship on its energy bills. That makes a big impact when you look at how we are collectively as people of faith making a difference. One example is the Hazlitt Community Church. Not only did they do everything that they could as far as energy efficiency, but they went on to install solar to generate electricity. So they are, between the two, saving $3,000 a year, and that is directly going into the Hazlitt food pantry. They are the only food pantry in the community, and this allows them really to pay for powering the refrigerators, but also to give back more to their community. And as people of faith, I want you to know you're in a unique position to make a difference. People of faith bring to the issue more clarity and courage, the ability to influence members. What you do in your place of faith, others take note of, your members and others in the community. And it also trickles down to the most vulnerable. If we clean up the air here where we are, it affects those downstream. So we wanted to share some faith community examples, and this is where I'd love to turn it over to my colleagues who will share their story of doing projects within their faith community. The first I want to invite to share is my colleague, Kate Poirier, and she is with the Aranac Christ United Methodist Church, which recently installed a lighting retrofit project. Kate, would you be able to share about your experience? You are on mute, so you'll have to unmute.
Super sorry. Anyway, the church had identified something like 56 lights that needed to be have the ballast removed, and there was nobody available to do the work because it was all overhead, and it was a larger population of senior citizens. So we looked at trade allies to do the work for us, and we identified one, and we got a quote that included the amount for rebates. So for the lighting, purchase of the materials was something like $300 total out of a $600 purchase price, and then the cost for the labor. And it just took a while to get this project done because I was reaching out to the contractor. They came and did the estimate, couldn't get a hold of the estimate. So we ran into a lot of problems in communication, and then once I finally got an estimate, it was an estimate that, you know, I just wanted a little more detail on, and I couldn't get the details that I was wanting to get. And then it was a problem scheduling. So we kind of just ran into all of these little bumps on the road. And in the process of which I think I learned that it pays to be a little bit persistent, not just sit back and say, well, okay, I did my thing, let's see what happens. So yeah, the work was done, and it's a lot brighter and a lot lighter, and it ended up being a good thing at the end, but it was a little more involved than I thought it would be. So is there more information that you would like on that, Jennifer?
Does anybody, I think that was great, Kate. Does anybody have any questions for Kate? Awesome. So Kate is a resource for anyone who's looking to hear from a peer about how did she find a trade ally and get that project implemented with the approval of her trustee board. So thank you, Kate, for that. Andy, are you able to come off mute and share about the People's Church?
Sure. Can you hear me all right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So a little bit about the church. It was built in 1926. And when I came along with the church, the last renovation had been 1966. So we joked that it was a monument to deferred maintenance. for a lot of years. So we started out with some of the low-hanging fruit, exit signs. We were able to get a payback in less than 10 months because they were all incandescent exit signs. We also figured in the labor that we spend changing lamps. That was an important selling point. And so we used these smaller projects like lighting retrofits, low consumption toilets, these projects that weren't that expensive, that were things that we could do in-house as ways to sort of put it in the congregation's face and celebrate a win, being able to see exactly how much money we would save, how that's impacting our carbon footprint. And what I discovered was we had people that were looking at it from different directions. We had people that were looking at it strictly as a financial stewardship for the church view. And so they wanted to see what the payback is, how much money is going to go back into the budget to put into other missions within the church. And then there were people who looked at it from the environmental stewardship standpoint, who were interested in how much does this reduce our carbon footprint? How does this impact the environment? So we got people on board with this, and that was about the time we started our Earth Stewardship Ministry. So that was getting other people involved from various ministries within the church. And so we started to take on some larger projects. And so getting involved with that, we started using, we started looking through the catalog of rebates and looking at our building and what we could do. One of the bigger projects we did was windows. And it was kind of a unique project for us because the windows were our single pane leaded windows. And we are in the historical district within East Lansing. And so we had to jump through a second set of hoops, which was getting something that would aesthetically match what was existing, but also provide that energy efficiency. So we were able to get our leaded windows sandwiched inside of a thermal pane window. And so it kept the look of the building while making us much more efficient and no longer heating the neighborhood. So again, we celebrated that project, and we started doing lighting controls, occupancy sensors, and we kept going with bigger and bigger projects until we hit the biggest project, which was our boiler project. And that was a $500,000 project to replace boilers that were from 1966. And with that project, we started a capital campaign. We were able to determine what we would save in energy. And at that point, we had all these projects that were wins for us. So people were aware of what we were trying to do and getting on board. And the project, we were able to get people to sign on to pledge towards this project. We had all the pledges within about 10 months, and it was going to be paid for over 3 years. And with this project, just with rebates alone, we were in the ballpark, I believe it was $18,000 from Consumers Energy, and our electrical utility company, which is separate, was about $8,000 towards the project. Granted, it's a smaller portion of what the project was, but that paid for all the engineering and our entire mechanical study for the building for all our future renovations. So that was our big celebration when we had a celebration when the project was complete, and our congregation members were able to all put their signatures on the new boilers, which was great for them. We did a tour of the boiler room, and yeah, it was it was a big win for us.
Andy, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing about the People's Church. Does anyone have any questions for Andy that you want to ask now? Or if you think of something, put it in the chat so we can come back to it. Okay, great. So with that, Wayne, I understand that you joined us now. Are you able to come off of mute and talk about Little Eden Camp's story?
I can.
Okay.
Sorry I was late. I'm also a part of the fire department, and we had a little emergency I had to take care of over there. But yeah, we've over the last 5 or 6 years been updating to LED. Started with our fluorescent bulbs and got rebates for that, and then been plugging away at things. And then this past year, switched out all our outside lighting to update that to LED. And so for us, we've seen just this summer, we saw over $800 in savings on our electric bill. So for a medium-sized nonprofit, that's huge when you look at, the savings for years to come. Yes, it's costing us a little bit because rebates didn't cover everything. But for us, it's a huge win over the next 20, 30 years. So.
Wonderful. Thanks for that, Wayne.
You're welcome.
Great. Any questions for Wayne before we move on? Okay. So how do you address, some of the challenges that you might encounter as a house of worship who's trying to implement some of these ideas that you've just heard about and others that I'm sure you're considering for your own house of worship? And one important way is to connect with your consumer's energy advisor. So we're in the fortunate position, I believe, to have all 5 energy advisors that cover all regions of the state on this call. And I wanted to invite them to come off of mute and introduce themselves one at a time, to just share your name, the region that you work in, and anything else that you want to let folks know about in connecting with you as a resource for their energy saving project. So Aaron, did you have any thoughts as to the order that folks, and first of all, I should introduce Aaron as the manager of that program. Aaron, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Jennifer. Yeah, my name is Aaron Prince. I'm the program manager for Consumers Energy's small business program for commercial and industrial rebates, which churches will fall under. So we have a very kind of specialized program for customers that have smaller amount of usage on an annual scale than, say, an industrial facility or university or anything like that. So for churches and houses of worship and nonprofits such as yourself, we will offer higher rebate amounts for mainly what we'd be looking at in our program is lighting or refrigeration. If you have any, equipment in or ECM motors and any coolers or anything like that in your facilities. Our program is completely contractor or trade ally based, which means that we offer rebates. Basically what we do is we'll get you in touch with a contractor in your area that can come out. They'll give you a complete proposal with all their recommendations on lighting and refrigeration, shows all the energy savings you'd achieve in a year. It would show you the rebate, and it would actually show your direct customer cost, which is usually quite low in comparison to the project cost. And then that covers labor, covers all those kind of things. So that's what our program specializes in. But we certainly, as consumers as a whole, we do have programs for boilers, if you're a natural gas customer, and other things too. All the advisors on our call today are part of the small business program, but you're welcome to reach out to them. And if it's something that falls outside of the small business program, they'll get you in touch with an advisor on our large business program, and any customer can participate in the large business program too. So those rebates can be utilized. And just another thing that some people might have used in the past, but is also an option, is there is a business instant discount program if you're going to be installing lights or things like that yourself. If you want to buy those from a distributor, there'll be rebates right at the point of sale too. So just a little food for thought on our program. Anything we would be looking on directly on our team to be assisting in a rebate, it would be something where we would having a contractor come in, do the labor for you. But anything outside of lighting or refrigeration you might be looking at, we can get you in touch with our large business program, or we can get you in touch with our business instant discount program if you're looking to, if you have the capabilities of installing those things yourself. So with that, I'm gonna send it over to Mike Olson first. He kind of covers the west side of the state, southwest portion, and we'll kind of go clockwise up to Jamie, and Eric, and Chuck, and then we'll finish up with Matthew. So Mike.
Thanks, Aaron. Yeah, so my name is Mike Olson. I'm the energy advisor for the southwest area of the state, which, I mean, it's kind of a line that runs at the top of Kent County and then jags over to Ottawa County and down Kalamazoo, et cetera. So I'm not sure if we're going to share like the actual territory map, but that's my territory. So kind of that quadrant of the state. And then at the same time, I also do work with the contractors a lot. So the trade allies that are part of our program, just to, again, assist them, connect them with customers if you're looking to do a project. And then I can also at times help answer questions. I know Aaron touched on the other side of our program, you know, for rebates, doing the application, et cetera. But I'm happy to help with those simple questions too.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Matt, for dropping that map in the chat too. That's great. Go ahead.
So my name is Charles Jarvis. I am the energy advisor for the southeast portion of the state. If you transpose Mike's territory, you know, from west to east, I pretty much have the same amount of territory. So pretty much up to Saginaw, and all the way down to Tecumseh, like Erie, the south, like really southeast tip, like right before you get to Toledo. So like pretty much all of that area, pretty much all the way down 27 south. There's a little bit of Battle Creek I have as well, but that's pretty much my territory.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Charles. Oh, go ahead, Jamie.
I'll go ahead, Eric.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So my name's Eric Zielinski. I'm the energy advisor in the northeast portion. Matthew Butson, one of our energy advisors as well, dropped in the territory map. So I won't name all the counties, but that will be helpful if you guys are looking to see which areas we cover. But like I said, I'm in the northeast territory, and happy to help you guys with kind of any of your energy efficiency needs. Happy to answer questions like Mike alluded to. So with that, I'll toss it over to Jamie.
My name is Jamie Thiele. I have the Northwest Territory, so from Muskegon all the way up through Traverse City area. Just like, you know, how everyone has been saying it, from Mike to Charles and Eric, any kind of question anyone would have, definitely be happy to answer anything. Like I said, Northwest Territory. That's where I'm at.
Great, thanks.
Hi, I'm Matthew Butson. I don't have a set territory. I mostly work with trade allies. So I assist trade allies with proposal building, any questions that they have, I try to help. And then specifically for what I could do to help you guys out would be is if you're working with a particular trade ally that is not one of our, or working with a contractor that is not signed up to be one of our trade allies, I can reach out to that trade ally and see if I can get them signed up and participating in the program to help you capture those incentives with us. And that's all I have.
Great, thank you. Did we get everyone? Okay, super. So I think I will go back to sharing my screen. So just a couple things, but we said we'd make this a simple 1, 2, 3 process. So, you know, on your energy serving journey, if you haven't already availed yourself of the free small business energy assessment that Consumers Energy offers, please take advantage of that. It is free for all houses of worship with consumer service for either gas or electric. And we have a link on our website where you can sign up for that program. Your first step is, after having the free assessment, is really identifying a project. You will receive a report. Kate is with Beacon of Light United Methodist Church, so I chose hers as the report cover that we're displaying here, but you'll get your own personalized report with the energy auditor's recommendations for the top 3 or 4 projects you could implement to start saving money immediately. We also encourage you to access the rebates and discounts that are available through Consumers Energy or your local utility. We share a lot of these stories on our website on a page called Next Steps. That business instant discount rebate that Aaron referenced, a link to that is on this page, as well as the trade ally information that Matthew mentioned. So a lot of information is on that page. And then third would really just be to connect with your energy advisors. So everyone's introduced themselves, their contact information is on this slide. We'll also be emailing this out to everyone who's registered for this webinar. So you don't have to memorize this now, but if you want to write it down, please do. They can also, if you feel so moved, you all could drop your information in the chat to give people the chance to connect with you that way as well. I also want to encourage you to schedule an appointment with me or my colleague Kate. We're here to assist you on your energy saving journey. So a link to my calendar is at the bottom, and feel free to just go on there and book an appointment. So that is the rest of my presentation, and what we really wanted to do at this point is open it up for questions and answers. So I want to start off with Kay's question. Kay, thank you for dropping your question in the chat. So you mentioned, how do you get the rebates for the new LED lighting project that you've implemented? And it sounds like James is your guy, since you mentioned you are with a faith community located in Traverse City. Am I understanding correctly? Kay, do you want to come off mute and tell us a little about your project?
Yeah, thank you. We did this project last year after we received our ERP funds. And so we changed out all of the lighting in the sanctuary, and that was about 27,000 in fixtures and bulbs. And then it was another 2,500 in install from someone who gave us a discount. So yeah, we were told already that we were eligible for a rebate, but we don't know how to get that. So it's been a year already, and I've got to get moving on that. So
James, any suggestions for Kay, or what are her next steps? Should she talk with you offline?
Aaron, I have a question for you. Would that be part of one of the look back projects?
Yeah, we'll reach out. We'll need to. Did you, when you say you got a discount on the installation, was that through an electrical contractor that installed these for you?
right, it was not.
Okay.
Yeah, it was not a big discount, but we got, like, I'd say about 10%.
Okay, and then do you still have all the info, like invoicing on
Yeah.
the labor and then the bulbs and all that kind of stuff?
Right.
So we'll have James reach out. I'm not sure at this point if it's something we can run through the small business program, but the large business program could potentially go back. If any LEDs that are installed have to meet certain qualifications, they have to be on a certain qualified product list. If the bulbs that you use meet that, then we'll help you get a rebate applied for, either through our program, probably more through the large business program, but I'll have James reach out, get that info from you, and then we'll take it from there and help you get in touch with someone to get those applied for.
Okay, thanks so much for that. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Kay, could you put your contact information in the chat, and then I will take that down, please?
Sure, I'll get that right now.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Reverend Sharon, I know you've been working on this for a while, how to save on energy bills at Unity of Lansing. Would you be willing to share a few things about what you've been trying to look into and how you could use assistance?
Yeah, we moved from a building that was 5,000 square feet and burned down into a 20,000 square foot building with 5 furnaces. So we are doing the quick step. We've had consumers come through to give us recommendations. We are remodeling. We have added some insulation where it was feasible to do so. We've used the eco thermostat in our office space, which has really been helpful. And we just got $100, coupon we could use. We used it at Amazon to order some things. That was kind of a nice surprise. And we participated this summer in you turn down the air conditioning at certain times for the day. So we have adjusted, like during the week in our sanctuary area, we've adjusted down another 5 degrees for in the winter for heating, and the same way in the summer, adjusting it up. So we only really bring it to living temperatures Saturday night, so it's ready for Sunday morning. We've changed out all of our light bulbs, exit lights, and some of this we had to do to bring it up to code, the sprinkler systems and everything. We're still in a little culture shock with our electric bill, $1,000 a month, where it used to be like 300. So we're very cognizant of turning off lights and every place that we can do it. And I said, we're still dancing with it. We're looking for everything.
Right. Lansing area, can you all remind me who covers the Lansing area?
It would be me, but I've got like a ton of questions. Just because we got Board of Water and Light, is kind of an obstacle for us in Lansing. If you put your information in the chat so that I can give you a ring and kind of just ask you some of those questions, because we might be here a second. But
okay.
But yeah, put your information in the chat and then I will follow up with you if it's okay right after the meeting.
Oh yeah. And we have this, Consumers has a lot of our stuff. It's interesting. Electric comes through Consumers too, I think, or I can't remember the bills, but I know it's different than we were right downtown Lansing.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's
I'll put
definitely
it
one of
in
the
the
things I
chat
wanna-
there.
Yeah, that's one of the things I want to dive into.
Okay,
I
thank you.
had one more question for Kay. Sorry, Charles. Kay, are you a Consumers Energy customer? Because I know Traverse City, there's.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we are.
Kate, did Kay's church recently sign up for the small business assessment? Is that how we got connected? Is that
I don't think we're signed up for it yet.
okay?
We'd like to, because
Okay.
we have refrigeration and boiler issues, so that would be a really good thing to do now.
Yeah, Kay, I've got my email right there in the chat. And to answer your question, Jennifer, I think I talked to like 50, 60, 70 churches last week. I don't remember, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, all right.
No more trick questions, all right? Let's just keep it.
Okay,
All right, thanks.
no problem. Thank you. Okay, David, John, Jessica, would love to hear from you. What energy efficient projects your faith community is considering, if any, and how possibly a consumer's energy advisor could help by responding to any questions that you have.
So we just had the energy audit done. I think it was the 2nd of November. And I have not seen that report yet. So at this point, it's just information gathering and getting ready to figure out what the next step is after we see that report.
Okay, super. And remind us, where's your faith community located?
Portage, just outside of Kalamazoo.
Okay. And so your energy advisor is Mike, is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. So yeah, if you just had the assessment a week or two ago, I would assume that the report will be coming out any day now. And when you receive that, Mike really would be a great resource to bounce any questions off if you have any.
Appreciate that.
Great, awesome. Jessica wrote, just thinking of who she needs to be in touch with at the church to keep things moving forward. But a lot of her questions have already been answered. Thank you, Jessica. Yeah. So now you have folks' contact info. Hopefully, we can be a resource. And also wanted to ask for our presenters, Andy and Wayne, would you be willing to make yourself available if the faith community wants to connect with you to just dive in one-on-one with your process, or even just list you as a reference in case members of their trustee board have questions about how you went about doing your energy saving projects? Would you be willing to share your contact info with interested faith communities?
Sure, that'd be fine.
Sure, absolutely.
Great, thank you. So I'll circle back with you about maybe including that in the follow-up email, or if you want to drop that in the chat now for those who are in this meeting. Jessica also wrote, Mike, can I have your contact info in the chat?
Yeah, sorry, Jennifer, I seen it. I was responding to it.
Okay, not a problem, not a problem. Great. And awesome. I'd love to hear now from the energy advisors, when you've been working with houses of worship, what are some of the common challenges and opportunities that you see for them? In other words, where do you see that you could help them navigate common obstacles as a resource? And what would be the common opportunities that you see that they might not be thinking of or aware of that would exist on their campus? Does anyone want to just dive in and share your thoughts, challenges, and opportunities?
I was probably just gonna say probably one of the biggest challenges is just, it sounds like applying for the rebates. So again, I mean, if you are interested, our small business program does take some of that headache out. If you want to partner with a contractor, they'll do everything for you. So just kind of peace of mind there, and to make sure you get the rebate. Again, for our program, we do pay the rebate to the contractor, but you are getting it that way as part of the project, so it's discounted from the project cost. And then I guess additional opportunities. I mean, I know Aaron mentioned it, but refrigeration, I know most people just think about lighting, but refrigeration, if you have walk-in coolers or anything like that at your facility, we do those motors, we do strip curtains for them, controls. So again, a lot of savings there.
Yeah, and I think Catherine was having a issue kind of with the organization of things, like, keeping their contractor on task. That's kind of something that we handle for you as well. So I mean, once you give us the okay to go ahead and start a project, we're pretty much the project manager for you in a sense at that point. The contractor will do all the paperwork for you. We'll make sure that they're doing things in a timely fashion. You don't have to do that. Hey, they didn't show up this day, that day. We're kind of the liaison. So we handle all of those things that, generally speaking, a customer in general has trouble with.
And another thing too, I don't know if it's mentioned, but that proposal that the contractor would give the customer, that's at no cost as well, just so the customer can see the breakdown of their savings. And that way everything's right in front of them, and they can kind of say, okay, this is what I'd be saving. This is, what consumers pays the contractors to help alleviate on costs. So that portion of it's no cost to the customer, and there's no obligation if they don't want to utilize the program. Obviously, we definitely want them to, but there's no string attached as far as, hey, if they got that proposal and they're like, nah, I'm just not interested right now, there's nothing behind that as far as they're having to do something if they're not interested. So
Awesome. Well, those sound like two huge pluses, no cost proposals and Charles's framing of the energy advisors is really being your liaison with the contractor so that you can, if you're having any challenges like Kate was describing at Aaron at Christ, they can help you navigate that. So wonderful. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Yes, Matt is asking for David's contact info. Awesome. John, can you hear us? Is there anything you want to share about the project that your faith community is looking at? Okay.
No, not.
Can I ask a
Okay.
question when there's a minute? I don't want to interrupt.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, so I just, when I'm talking with churches and working with them, I have a question because it sounds like sometimes we have some rebates that are very extreme and sometimes a little bit less so. And I just wondered for any one of you, what makes that difference?
Was the question clear? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I believe you were asking like the difference between like a rebate for your church versus another one. Is that?
Well, yeah, let's just say one church gets a quote of an estimate of 6,000 and pays 15, and then another church, you know, like for us, Aaron at Christ, it was an 1,800 quote that we got a few hundred off of, and I'm just curious to how that works out.
So the main, like in a nutshell, it really just has to do with the amount of energy that you're using in comparison to the next person. The hours of operation matter. So, you know, if you're a small church and you're only open one day a week, that's going to be something different as opposed to, let's say, you know, a mega church that is open, you know, 40 plus hours a week with a daycare and a large facility and a large amount of parking lot lights. That really is the main difference. That's a drastic difference, but that is the difference, you know, when you chalk it up against every other church. So that would be
just to add on to that, it's our rebate amount is paid on how much you're going to save in a year. So if like Charles was mentioning, if you have low usage and you're only using those lights one day a week, the amount you're saving and which goes towards the rebate isn't going to be as much as a church that's open and has seven days of activities going on. So that could be part of the difference. Certainly it can be contractor to contractor too on how they're pricing. And if you don't like the price on the proposal that you receive from one contractor that we refer you to, we're happy to get you in touch with a couple others to give you the same thing too, and to shop around. And if there's someone, you know, for a contractor, we'll get you in touch with, it has to be someone who's registered as a trade ally with our program. If there's someone that you already know or already working with, that's not, we're happy to get them involved and teach them the program and show them how to use it. And then they can generate that quote as well. So if you, like I said, if you know an electrician or someone you're already working with, we're happy to get them signed up too. But to Charles' point, yeah, when the rebate is based on your annual savings, one church that uses very little is not going to get the rebate that another one with higher usage does. And we're always happy, like I said, to get you in touch with a different contractor that might give you more attractive pricing.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Okay. John, thank you for dropping that in the chat and mentioning that St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church is looking into, is having an assessment at the end of this month and thinking about changing out your fluorescent tube lighting and potentially the parking lot lighting. Benzie County looks like where your church is located, and who is the energy advisor for that? I'm sorry, you guys have told us so many times. Charles, you're on mute.
Sorry, I believe Benzie County belongs to Jamie.
James.
And I'm sorry, I couldn't hear what county?
Benzie County.
Oh, yes, yes. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I thought you said Genesee County. Yes, yep, that's me.
Okay, so John, James is your go-to person. So James, John is with St. Andrew's Presbyterian, and they're thinking about maybe their parking lot lighting or interior fluorescent lighting could be a huge energy savings, but they're having an assessment done at the end of this month.
Okay.
And so James, I don't know if you already shared your contact info with John, but we can also share it out at the end of this.
Sure, I can. And I don't know if John put his information on here or not.
I don't believe so. So John, feel free to drop your information in the chat or to reach out to James directly. Matt, you have your hand raised. Go ahead. You're on mute still.
I'm
Go
on
ahead.
mute, sorry. I was gonna say, I already found that assessment for David. Actually, I called Stephanie and left the voicemail to follow up with it earlier today. So I will email you that report and Stephanie can disregard the voicemail I left her then.
Stephanie's on vacation this week, so thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Wonderful. Awesome. Anything in reflection, Andy or Wayne, having shared about what your respective faith communities achieve that you would want to share as words of inspiration to the faith communities who are considering projects?
Sure. I think for us, we started with a few smaller projects, and we had some volunteers that would help do the installation to save us money. So we didn't have to pay for the contractor. I think that was huge to get the ball rolling for us and start seeing some of that savings. And then when we ended up hiring a contractor for the last thing, which was, the bigger outdoor lighting that needed equipment to get up to, things like that. So for us, it worked really well to be able to do two different types of projects, some in-house with some of our own people that are very familiar with electrician type things, or even retired electrician. But then also bringing in the contractor to be able to do that. The other thing that I don't know that you guys touched, for us, there was some financing available, interest-free financing. I don't know if that's still a thing out there with Consumers Energy. So the money we're saving can help pay off those fixtures. And so for us, that was, kind of it made the decision a whole lot easier for the budget to say, yep, we're going to do that. And over the next 3 years, we'll pay for it with the money we're saving. So I don't know if that's still a thing, but that might be something they touch on.
Wayne, was that through Michigan Saves?
It was through our trade ally.
Okay.
That got it. I'm not sure. The details of that. Sorry.
Okay. That would be interesting if we're able to look into that, so we could maybe share that info with other faith communities. But I can share that we partner with Michigan Saves, which is another statewide nonprofit that offers low to no interest financing for energy efficiency improvements. So anyway, it's good to know that option is still available. Andy, anything you would like to share?
Sure. Just to reiterate the whole idea of starting small and celebrating those wins and building off of that. Trying to bite off larger projects sometimes can overwhelm a congregation, especially if it's something that maybe they weren't thinking about. So you get these wins, and then that people want to back a winning project. Second thing is I wanted to share when we did our projects, we actually hired an engineering firm to do a complete study of our building and to see where our money was best spent, what our best payback would be. And this was including measuring the whole building envelope, looking at the status of air handlers, boilers, lighting infrastructure, making sure our insulation matches, what we would need. Because a good example was because we did new windows and we did some insulating projects, we actually went with a smaller size boiler, smaller boilers than we had initially because the building itself was more efficient. Whereas if we would have tackled the boilers first, we would have to have that increased capacity. So doing things in a logical order and having the help of an engineer makes a big difference.
Thank you so much for that. That is all very informative, and I appreciate it so much. So we are coming up on our time together, and I will just say that in follow-up, we'll send an email with the Energy Advisor's contact information and links to the resources that were mentioned today. And if you have any questions, please do reach back out. Kate has dropped her contact info in the chat. She is an excellent resource for you as well. And I'm just so thrilled. Thank you for sharing your time together today, and we look forward to connecting.
Thank you.
Thanks.